Have you ever been publicly roasted by your HOA for something as harmless as a neatly stacked pile of firewood in your own backyard? What if the very woman who called it an unsightly eyesore and slapped you with a fine was the one sneaking through your gate at 1 a.m. in high heels to steal it? And what happens when those same logs turn her flawless living room fireplace into a theatrical smoke bomb of epic, neighborhood-watching karma? Let me paint you the picture of Harmony Hills subdivision, where every lawn is mowed with military precision and every mailbox is painted the exact same shade of corporate beige. On the surface it looks like the American dream. White picket fences, smiling families, zero drama. But underneath, a web of covenants thicker than a corporate contract, all enforced by people who treat minor infractions like federal crimes. I moved to Harmony Hills 6 years ago after my wife Sarah passed. All I wanted was quiet. No city chaos, no memories screaming at every corner. Just a modest house at the end of Maple Lane where I could tinker in my garage workshop and stack my oak logs in peace. That woodpile wasn't just fuel. It was therapy. Every swing of the axe let me release the grief in clean, honest cracks. The smell of fresh-cut wood was the only thing that felt real anymore. For years I played by their rules. Dues paid early. Grass at exactly 4 inches. Fence painted the approved soft taupe. No complaints. Then Barbara Kensington arrived like a hurricane in pearls. She rolled in with 3 SUVs, 2 movers, and a welcome banner the size of a billboard. Within 10 days she'd volunteered herself as HOA president. No election, no vote, just a clipboard and that fake smile she practiced in every reflective surface. Suddenly the neighborhood chat blew up with her daily bulletins. Maintaining visual harmony. This community standards reminder. That bird feeders had to match the beige palette. Holiday lights could only stay up exactly 28 days. One guy got cited for leaving his trash can out an extra hour. Barb patrolled every morning in her pressed khakis and pearls, tape measure swinging like a badge. I figured she'd ignore me. Wrong. One Tuesday she click-clacked up my driveway, sunglasses on even though it was overcast. "Mr. Langford," she cooed, "all sugar and steel. Section 7.2 of our covenants clearly states outdoor storage must not disrupt aesthetic flow." She pointed at my woodpile like it was a toxic waste dump. "Visible from the street. Eyesore. 10 days to relocate or it's a $150 fine." I blinked. "Barb, it's behind the shed. Nobody sees it but the squirrels." Her smile never wavered. "Rules are what keep Harmony Hills harmonious, dear. We all signed the agreement." She snapped a photo, scribbled on her clipboard, and click-clacked away like she just won the Nobel Peace Prize for lawn care. I didn't move it. Just neatened the stack a little. Big mistake. 3 days later her newsletter dropped. Unsightly storage areas compromising our shared beauty. No names but everyone knew. Neighbors started giving me the pity nod. "Best not to poke the bear, Mrs. Patel whispered over the fence." I went back to splitting logs, the axe sounding sweeter than ever. Therapy, right? Then the pile started shrinking. First I thought I was imagining it. 10 logs gone. Then 20. Always the top row. Always neatly res-tacked so I wouldn't notice right away. Heel prints in the soft grass. A faint whiff of that overpriced rose perfume Barb wore like war paint. I asked around, nobody saw anything. Of course not. Harmony Hills didn't do confrontation. We did passive-aggressive newsletters. That's when the engineer in me woke up. I carved tiny notches only I could spot on every fresh log. Motion light by the gate. Still nothing for a week. Then one night the light popped on. Shadow. Heels clicking. By morning another dozen gone. I hit the hardware store, came back with 2 hidden cameras, night vision, motion alert, cloud backup. Installed one above the shed, one in the gutter. Tested the feed. Perfect. 3 nights later my phone buzzed at 12:47 a.m. There she was on the live feed, Barbara Kensington, HOA president, in a beige coat and those same ridiculous heels. Flashlight in one hand, loading my oak into her SUV like it was Black Friday at the lumber yard. She even muttered, "For the greater good my fireplace needs premium." I replayed it twice, laughing so hard I almost woke the block. The woman who fined me for fire hazard potential was now my midnight lumber supplier. I could have called the cops. Trespassing, theft, slam dunk. But Karens don't fear jail. They fear exposure. So I waited. Next HOA meeting was in 48 hours. Perfect timing. I walked into the beige clubhouse early, sat front row. Barb stood at the head table, pearls gleaming, mug that said World's Best Enforcer. She launched right in. Before we begin, a quick note on Mr. Langford's continued violation of storage standards. New photos. New fine. $250. She held up her phone like Exhibit A. I raised my hand. Mind if I clarify? Her smile tightened. This is a meeting, not a debate, David. Great, I said, standing. Because I'm not debating. I'm showing. I hooked my phone to the projector. The room went dead quiet. There she was, full screen, high-def, time-stamped, Barb sneaking through my gate, stacking logs, muttering about community benefit. Gasps. Then giggles. Then full-on laughter. Someone in the back yelled, "She's the fire hazard now." Barb's face went the color of a stop sign. That's edited. Invasion of privacy. Cameras on my property, I said calmly. Perfectly legal. Want me to zoom on your smirk? The room lost it. Even quiet, Mr. Patel was wiping tears. Barb slammed her clipboard and stormed out, heels clicking like gunfire. But I knew she wasn't done. People like her don't quit, they reload. That same night I got to work in the workshop. I'm an engineer. I solve problems with precision. Not violence, spectacle. I took a few ordinary-looking logs and turned them into stage props, hollow just enough for a safe theatrical effect I'd seen in old backyard fireworks kits. Loud pop, harmless puff of colored smoke, nothing that could actually burn the house down. I mixed them back into the pile like nothing happened. If Barb wanted premium oak so bad, she could have the deluxe edition. 2 nights later my phone buzzed again. Another heist. I watched her load the special logs with that same smug little smile. I almost felt bad. Almost. The next evening was ordinary until 10:17 p.m. A muffled boom rolled down the street like thunder in a bottle. Car alarms screamed. Porch lights popped on like dominoes. Smoke, thick, theatrical, bright pink, because why not, poured out of Barb's pristine white chimney. Neighbors spilled outside in robes and slippers, phones up, whispering. I strolled out calm as ever. There was Barb in her driveway, hair half singed, robe flapping, screaming at the arriving firefighters. It just exploded. Sabotage. Faulty wood. The young firefighter tried not to grin. Ma'am. Looks like some unusual combustion inside the logs. You acquire these locally. Barb froze. They were a gift. The crowd snickered. Someone muttered, gift from Dave's yard, maybe? I joined the circle, hands in pockets. Everyone okay? Barb whipped around, eyes wild. You. This is your doing. I shrug. Funny. You once called my woodpile a fire hazard. Guess karma stacks higher than you thought. Mrs. Patel covered her mouth to hide the laugh. The firefighter shook his head. Ma'am. I'd maybe cool it on the fireplace for a while. The irony hung thicker than the smoke. The queen of community standards had just turned her living room into a neighborhood comedy special, courtesy of the very which she stole while lecturing everyone else. 3 days later the special hearing notice arrived. Red ink, urgent, signed by Barb herself. Mr. Langford summoned for endangerment, unauthorized surveillance, and malicious materials. I laughed so hard I spilled my coffee. The woman who literally set herself on fire was still trying to play victim. The clubhouse was standing room only. Everyone wanted tickets to the fall of the HOA tyrant. Barb sat at the head table, pearls polished, folder labeled evidence like she was starring in her own courtroom drama. She launched in. Mr. Langford deliberately planted dangerous materials, resulting in an explosion at my residence. He also violated privacy with illegal cameras. I stood, folder in hand. Actually, Madam President, though I'm surprised you're still calling yourself that, I have a few exhibits of my own. First, the county fire inspector's report. Foreign material introduced into fireplace. Source: unverified external firewood. Homeowner admitted acquisition was not purchased. The room gasped. Barb turned ghost white. Out of context. I smiled. Context is everything. I hit play on the projector. There she was again. Heels, flashlight, muttering for the greater good. Laughter exploded. Real, unrestrained, the kind that had been bottled up for years. She's the fire hazard. Stealing for the greater beige. Even the treasurer couldn't hide her grin. Barb slammed the table. This is harassment. You're all being manipulated. The new vice president, quiet Mr. Patel, stood. According to bylaws, if the president's conduct harms the community, we vote. Hands shot up one by one. Barb's eyes darted like a cornered animal. You wouldn't dare. They did. Unanimous. Effective immediately, Barbara Kensington is relieved of duty. She grabbed her purse, muttered something about lawyers, and click-clacked out for the last time. The door slam echoed. Then applause, thunderous, joyful. The sound of a neighborhood finally exhaling. The weeks after felt like waking from a bad dream. No more daily patrols. No more beige bulletins. The new board, led by Mr. Patel, actually listened. Meetings became optional, friendly, and short. Someone suggested a community barbecue. Nobody got fined for excessive smoke emissions. The Millers hosted the first one in 6 years. Kids ran on lawns again. Dogs barked without citations. The group chat filled with birthday wishes instead of violation warnings. Even my woodpile became legend. Every time someone lit a fire pit, someone else would smirk. Real wood this time, right? I pretended to roll my eyes, but secretly I loved it. The quiet guy who finally pushed back had reminded everyone. Rules are supposed to protect neighbors, not crown kings and queens. One warm spring afternoon my gate creaked. I turned, half expecting Mr. Patel. Instead, Barb. Hair shorter, no pearls, just a plain gray coat and tired eyes. Still playing with fire? She asked softly, nodding at my pit. Only the safe kind, I said. We walked to the shed in awkward silence. She picked up an old box, stared at it. I wasn't trying to be cruel, you know. I just wanted things perfect. Controlled. Control isn't order, Barb, I replied gently. It's fear wearing pearls. She gave the smallest smile. Maybe you're right. Maybe I didn't know how to stop. Fire has a way of reminding you who's really in charge, I said. She nodded, took her box, and left without slamming the gate. No threats. Just a tired woman who finally looked human. For the first time in years, Harmony Hills felt like home again. Laughs drifting over fences, real conversations, no one measuring grass with a ruler. The tyrant was gone, not by revenge, but by the simple, undeniable truth catching up to her in full color. Here's the real tea, folks. Power-hungry Karens in HOA thrones always collapse under their own weight. Stay patient, gather proof, and let karma do the heavy lifting. Respect builds communities, control burns them down. What would you have done? Drop it in the comments and smash subscribe for more HOA nightmares turn victories.